How's it going, guys? Gabe here from Cincy, and today this is gonna be the part 2 of my upgrade WLTOYS K989 segment, where I basically try to upgrade and make the K989 better. Just a quick recap. The very first upgrade that I did was remove the top half of the all-in-one. What this basically does is allow more airflow, cooler temperatures for the ECS and receiver and everything. Just helps out a lot, especially when these vehicles come out of the box. They tend to have a really tight suspension, and what that does is drivetrain, sorry. And what that does is create drag on the ESC, and it makes it run hotter, so you can burn them out. Make sure you unplug these every time you turn them off, and you don't drain the battery too low, because having a drag like that and having a low battery will actually affect your battery's health. So, starting out the second mod, I actually recorded me doing this, and then it took so long, honestly, because I wanted to take time and explain things, that it dragged on so long that my battery on my camera died. And it was just so stretched and long. So honestly, I'm just gonna tell you guys exactly how to do it, point it out. It is not as hard as it looks. Just take your time. So basically, so part 2 is gonna be a few simple mods. Number 1, here is your servo right there. There is your. It does have a small servo saver. It does. It has a little small spring right there. It's kind of like a servo saver. Your little arm, and where this connects at, it was actually originally connected in this lower hole right here. By raising it up here, actually gave it more turning angle. You can see it turns much further than the original stock. So that helped out a little bit with more angle, giving you more ability to turn, you know, more to the left and right. That I'm sure is going to help out with track performance. And then the second mod is, as we all know, mine had a really stiff kind of drivetrain. Like it would just stop. It would almost look like you have a drag brake, and that's due to everything being so tight in there. And you know, you having plastic, they have a little bit of, like, you know, where it molded, a little bit of the plastic will be a little extra on there, or they don't put adequate enough grease, or everything's just too tight in there, and it'll just create the drivetrain to be really, really stiff. I actually ordered a file set. I recommend it. It's from Amazon. It's only $7, and it has a bunch of sizes and shapes, round, square. And the best thing to do really is give it a little more room in there. Feel the differential in there and see if it's too tight around there. Not where the wells were the bearing itself, but like the room in the transfer casing. On the other side, I'll see like it almost rose at the top of this. It's just really, really tight. Make a little more room at the top of this. The actual shaft itself is almost like it's too fat or too wide. So sand just a little bit around there, just so the bearing's a little bit smoother, spins a little bit more freely. Also, any excess stuff on the gears of the mesh, look at the actual gears, make sure there's nothing on them, any excess plastic or anything from the mold, and then putting in a proper diff fluid, so that, or not fluid, but diff grease. So this is what I'm using right here. It's the TLR, Team Losi Racing. It's high pressure black grease. That's going to be used for diff, gears, anything. This is just doesn't break down real easy. It's just really, really slick, good stuff. So what I did is, it's very simple. First thing you want to do is pop off 1, 2 linkages there. The 2 bottom linkages, you get like a screwdriver, get right underneath it as close as you can, hold the car really well, and just kind of pop these off. They will pop off. Not too much force, just enough to get them off. You take the 2 bottom springs off, the 2 bottom connector for the springs, the 2 top linkages. you unscrew these 2 screws, keep them together because they're bigger than the other ones, and then you have 4 screws for the actual transfer case. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Once you do that, the transfer case will slide out. Take it all apart. Your diff will pop up. It'll have 2 bearings on either sides. You may need a flat head like so. For one of them, should be able to pop out by hand. The other one's really close to the actual differential. You might have to just barely get in there. Be careful. Just loosen one side, get underneath the other side, loosen it, and it should slide off. Once you slide off the bearing, put them to the side, clean them off. You'll notice it'll be very dry, barely any grease in the case and any of the gears. Then you have 3 screws holding the transfer case together. Take all 3 screws off, it'll come apart. It's got the smallest gears and the smallest screws. Make sure you do it somewhere where you can't lose them. Be very careful. There are several pieces to it. 2 pieces that hold the case together. There's a center piece that holds the gears in place. And then there's 3 gears. So make sure you don't lose any small parts. This can cause a big problem for you. You can buy a new differential that's assembled, ready to go for a few bucks, but I don't recommend buying the WLTOYS one. I'll get into that here in a minute because the quality isn't that great. So once you take that apart, you clean it, remove all the old grease. You add a generous amount, not too much to where you're filling the case itself up with grease. Just enough to coat all the gears, you know, the gears themselves, where the gears right on inside the differential, the little circle, everything like that. Where the ball bearings is, try to get some into the ball bearing, kind of get around the ball bearing, work it with your hands. At least this quality stuff wipes right off your hands. So it's not really that messy. Get on those components, put everything back together, put it in there, put a little bit in the bottom of the case and the top of the case, put a little bit where the bearings are on the sides, and put some, make sure you get some on the bearing right here in that gear that rides onto your differential. That is very important. Once you do that, you can put it all back together, and then you can kind of feel it. Get a battery, hold it up, and just kind of run it, let the grease get all over there. Just run it a little bit like that. Feel it, how tight it is. If it's still tight, then it's just simply you need to file a little bit. So you can go ahead, if you have a set of files, go ahead and do that. If you feel that it's before you put it back together, obviously, feel like it's, you know what I mean. You kind of put the differential together and feel how smooth it is. You want to make sure, or you could just pop it in this case and hold the case closed and just feel how it turns with the drivetrain, you know. Just be careful, obviously, make sure the gears mesh correctly or you can strip them. So just feel them. If they still feel tight, they need some filing. Honestly, mine do need a little bit, but they're not completely terrible. Not enough, I don't think that's going to damage it long-term wise. It's still a little bit, like, it doesn't stop on a dime now. Like before, when you got off the throttle, it would just be like, lock up the brakes. You know, now it actually almost cruise just a little bit. Right now it's a little stiff, but once I get it going, it's not bad. Mine does need the, honestly, this does need it filed a little bit. I did not have the file set, so I ordered it. You're thinking, why'd you grease to put it back together? At least I have good quality grease in there. If I do run it, it's not going to damage anything as much. The first differential is going to go out is always your front, because they pull around turns. They get a lot more wear. So just to keep that in mind, I would honestly, having this little car, I'd order a differential for it, at least a set of 2. They're like $3 or $4. You can't go wrong. I'd also order the connector from the shaft to the gear right there. It just kind of goes onto the shaft. Order that as well. It's very cheap. It's like $2 or $3. So these are very, very cheap parts. They do wear, so I went ahead and ordered those parts just to have them. But before I get into that, let me also talk about the rear end. The rear end is a little bit different. You're going to need an Allen wrench to fit this. So what you're going to have to do is take this screw off, obviously pop off the 2 springs just like before, and then you're only going to have to take off this linkage and this one. What will happen is when you take this screw off, this linkage will come off. This screw actually holds the transfer case together. This one only has 1 screw here, 1 screw there, and then your bottom 2 screws that are Allen wrenches, that hold the bottom of the that hold the case together. So those are the two of them being Allen wrench. You don't need to remove this screw, just these two right here. And that's pretty much it. This will slide out. And then once again, clean everything, check all the plastic, make sure the mold didn't seep out somewhere. There's a little bit of plastic that just makes that gear not mesh correctly together. You can use sandpaper, not a file, on something round like the gear differential itself. You can use sandpaper, kind of make sure the bearing spins on there really smoothly. You might have to use a file, tiny parts, flat one or a square one, depending what you need, what the part shaped as. Don't change the shape of the part, just kind of smooth it out. If it has like it's not flat and smooth, it has like a little hump from the mold, just, you know, cheap molds. So be careful with that. Wow, I bent that quite a bit. Be careful with that. These bend, so that's no issue, but be careful with that. Kind of, you know, very little at a time. You could always kind of pop it on and feel it. You do it too much, you can actually damage it. Make sure the gear meshes mesh correctly. Put it back together. Obviously, put gear just like before. Put it where the bearing, grease where the bearings are. Don't be afraid to put a very little amount right in here, where your hub is to the wheel, where the dog bone goes into the hub right there. There's a bearing there. You can actually put your tip into there. Get a little bit of grease in there. Work it so that helps out that bearing, keeps it from going dry. And then once you get all that done, you're pretty much good to go. Just assemble it again, put it all together, test it. What they say is put a battery in, hold it up, turn it on, make sure, you know, this is centered, otherwise you'll hear a noise like you're giving it throttle. If it's centered, it makes no noise. And then just clicking it once or twice, it should spin your wheels freely. Mine don't do it yet because it's not to that point, but it's much better than what it was. It's not as bad, honestly. It's got good quality grease in there. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of sanding with some sandpaper and a little bit of filing, very little, but it's well worth it. This grease right here is about $6 to $7 on Amazon, 2-day shipping. It's about 88 cc's. It had a little bit of air in here, honestly. Once I squeezed it down, I didn't use that much. This is gonna be plenty for this, so I'm not that worried about it. If I have to clean it off, you know, for the parts that I'm at least sanding or filing, you have to clean those parts off. The rest, you kind of leave it on there because this grease really doesn't go bad. It's really good grease. What else? And then as far as ordering the differentials, this is what I did. I'll look in my cart, make sure I give you, not Amazon, I went to Banggood. So I'm going to show you which ones you need to get. You don't want to order the WLTOYS ones. The issue with ordering the WLTOYS ones, so here's what I ordered. I ordered these pins because they're small and they're very easy to lose. I do have a tip that I'm going to show you guys with those pins. And then I ordered the WLTOYS ones for the, here I can't read it, we're looking through there. These are the front and rear pinioned gear, short and long. Both of them, right? This is a set. This was $3.49. The clips were $1.89. And then, not the WLTOYS, but I ordered the JJRC Q36, Q35, 4-wheel drive 126 RC car part differential box. Okay? So, this is a better quality differential than your WLTOYS one. I think they're both about $3.52, so it's not like you're spending more. This is for non-racing, having fun, buy an extra set. This is gonna wear. I do have another one that I'm gonna show you guys that I was gonna order, but I'm gonna wait off in a segment because I want to start out budget friendly and then get into more serious race style upgrades. So for the for the more serious upgrade, it's right here. This is WLTOYS Upgrade Ball Adjustable Differential for 1/20th scale. Has all the K series right there. It's $14.27 for one. So it's more than 10 times, you know, it's not 10 times, but it's a lot. You know, $14 compared to $3. So you're paying, $11 more for the same part. And you get 2 with the JJRC. This one you only get 1. So, you know, you're going to spend $28 plus tax plus shipping. You're going to spend over $30 to get those ball ones. But the ball ones don't wear the same as these ones. The ball ones actually last a long, long time. Really, if you get a good quality grease in that differential and you get it connected, they should very well outlast probably a few sets, if not more. The ball ones are so much more better. So if you have the money, go ahead and order the ball one. But at the very least, when you buy this, I would order some extra differential because you're gonna wear them out, and especially in the front, they're gonna eventually give. Especially if you're running around a track, racing it, whatever you're doing with your friends. Several batteries later, those are gonna wear. So go ahead, at least get the JJRC. I think you get 2 for the JJRC. Let me double check. They're just better quality. That's the difference between. They fit perfectly. They're just better quality. That's important. So yes, you get 2 for $3.52. So that's the good part. You get front and back, or you can use them both for. Really, they're the same things. You can use them both for the front or whatever wears out. So that's the good news. So that's very affordable. Go ahead and, even when you buy the car, I would recommend buying those parts with it. You know, it's something that's gonna wear. This frame is stiff. These braces are stiff. It's just a wonderful car. So that pretty much concludes it. You know, with the drivetrain. There's other upgrades to come. They're gonna kind of start out slow and affordable and get, you know, more pricier. There are plenty of brushless options. There are plenty of metal hop-up kits for this. It's endless. So I'm just gonna do a few segments that are not crazy. I'm not gonna go too crazy and like getting everything aluminum anodized. I don't need it. I'm gonna work on balancing this chassis a little better. It may involve having a little bit of more weight in the front. It might involve different things. I would like to do a mod to where you could do different bodies, such as the Mini Z bodies. Right now we're running low profile, so we're good. Now if you were to do brushless or your own transmitter, which is not a bad idea, make sure you take the transmitter out of the case, you bend the pins down, you plug them in this way. Try to keep it low profile. Not only is it better to have lower gravity of the vehicle, but also being able to use different bodies from the Mini Zs. They actually screw on. This bumper comes off, that little bracket screws on here. There's little side pieces, I think, in the back piece. They'll snap on as long as they can clear what you have in here. They'll actually snap on this size. You can get them. So you just can't get really, really low profile ones that's got like a big dip in them or something. I'll try to create a list for you guys which ones you can get, you know, and that'll work for it. And I'll actually try one and show you guys how to put it on more in depth. It's just, this took so long and everything that my camera died, and I'm not going to take it all apart unless I'm going to file it and do some more mods to the drivetrain itself. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Looking at everything, the gear meshes, everything still seems to be good on it. It's holding up just fine. Like I said, I've ran it a little bit outdoors on the asphalt. I ran it in the kitchen a little bit, but I want to start driving this more, especially at a track. Now, a few other things just to show you around here while I'm talking about this. It's nice to get you just a couple nice little screwdrivers, obviously. Get you a nice Allen wrench. To give a shout out to this company right here. This is what I like about companies like this. This is Partner Racing. So this came with the a rock crawler, right? But look what they gave you. They gave you 3 Allen wrenches that fit every single part on the rock crawler. And look how many different size spacers they gave me. So I can adjust the suspension. Now these will actually, I'm not sure if these will work on here. No, but I like when companies do that. WLTOYS honestly should have thrown some kind of tool to take these wheels off. It's not that expensive. I think the Mini Z does it and a couple other brands do it. The Mini do it. I think they should have more, you know, little excess pieces like this. They should at least give you some kind of tool to access the back hubs. But I just like for this company what they did and gave you this spare parts was just... So I really appreciate companies that do that. Now, on the other hand, the good part about this vehicle is I tried out a few batteries. I don't know if I showed you guys in the last video. Is you can buy these. Everyone's like buy the long ones and you have to take these mounts off. No, you're better off buying these style of batteries and just not going above a 650. This is a 650. I probably wouldn't go this high, but I have this from my Dronoid. Remember the Red Cyber tank drone thing? This actually fits. Watch how snug this is. Boom. This actually fits super snug, and it stays in there. Like, this will ride like that. I'd probably put a rubber band or a strap or something over it, but it fits snug. You can use up to 650 is probably max size. But I'd recommend is something like a 550 or 500. This style is fine. And actually just set it in there. Obviously, if you can get these are better because they're lower profile to the ground. But, you know, if you have one of these, why not use it and enjoy and have some fun? Pop it right in there and look at that. So, you can put the body on. It's not any higher than the highest point, which is right there. So, it'll fit on most bodies, I would imagine. It fits on this perfectly on the WLTOYS body. So that's just something to think about. If you have these batteries for other products, make sure they're at least 7.4 volt. And these are all 20C batteries. So the performance is the same. It's just you're going to get different run times. Honestly, the battery, even if you could find these, I would honestly buy these. I think they sell like 400s. I could get like two 400 milliamp or 420. I can't remember what they are. For $17 from Amazon. 2 days shipping. And they'll fit perfectly, and they're low to the ground and light. The only thing is the motor's on this side, so it may help a little bit with the balance if you were to do a little bit heavier battery, bigger battery on this side. Does it kind of help with the balance maybe? I don't know. I need to figure out how well this is balanced. There's still a lot of things to be done to it, but honestly, I'm really enjoying this. Have your trusty... I did run this earlier a little bit for testing, so I don't know how much battery's left on it. Do need to figure that out. I can't remember what. Sorry about that. All cells are 8.15, 7.07, 7. So that's pretty well balanced. So yeah, I've been using my trusty balance lead charger. They're not the fastest, but they work well. Don't have a hobby grade, like a true hobby grade charger. I am going to look into that. Everything else works fine. Now I did want to share this with you guys since I'm doing this video. I'm going to do just a separate video for this. I produced a new wire for my setup. So I was thinking about seriously FPV in this car, which I'm going to. I think that'd be really fun. So last time you saw this, it had some cheap clear tape right there. So I went ahead and used some heat shrink. Get the wires put together correctly, heat shrink them. Now I have the female and the male. The good part about these is you can connect the battery pack to the female and then use this male to connect to certain small quads that have the connector on the board. That way you don't have to solder, you don't have to deal with all that. And the good news about this new wire that I made, besides obviously this, and which was a genius the way I connected it, it looks really well. I like that. And it's like strong, right? So, is this wire right here. Typically, you get this wire, and on the end of it, it only has this connector right here for batteries. This style batteries, I think it's GST. No, 1.3 or 2.0. They always change it for different ones. But the good news is, when you connect this now, and some of my batteries don't have this style connector. Then I have to get another big, long adapter. So I made this is, I can connect whatever battery I need. This is a 130 milliamp battery, 3.7 volt, from my little V911 helicopter. The good thing about this is it's light and small. So if I want to do FPV on a vehicle this small, I guess I could use a 300 milliamp battery, but that's just extra unnecessary weight. So you just hook up my wire, plug this in, and there you go. You have the camera working perfectly. And it's much lighter than having, you know, double the battery capacity. You know, if you only need 130 and you're going to do a quick little run, I'll test to see how long this lasts on a 130 milliamp battery. But, you know, instead of having 300, more than double the weight, unnecessary weight. Yeah, this plastic piece is a little bit, but, you know, plus it's easier to tuck, especially if I were to buy extra battery. I thought about making a cutout to where the camera's on the driver's side, and then on this inside, you know, you put the battery and everything in there, and the wiring. I think that'd be really, really cool. You know, if you buy extra battery like this, I'm sure they're not expensive, and the good part about it is it'll look really cool, and it'd be like you're in a driver's seat. So that'd be amazing. I thought about doing something like that. I really enjoy doing it with the excavator, having it in that perspective. I like to do it with the rock crawler and the little blue small rock crawler I got, because it has an open cab and you can put that to where you're in the driver's seat and rock crawling. That would be incredible. There's lots of stuff I want to do, especially the tank. To me was one of the funnest, to where I had to use the barrel with the little dot on it to aim and try to hit targets. There's so much stuff I want to do. FPV. FPV is amazing. Now that I have this Fat Sharks, hopefully I can figure out how to convert the files properly. If not, I can just put a video together on computer. Might take a little longer, might be not be as nice, but it'll still work. So I'll get that figured out, hopefully. But yeah, this all-in-one camera works beautifully. I only paid $18 for it. And the picture's great, the range is great, 25, 50, 200 milliamp, easily selects channels. So this works really well. I highly recommend this camera. It's all in my past videos. I have exactly the model and everything. On my channel, obviously. I had the rubber bands. I thought about putting it on top of here, which I still might. I'll figure it out. But yeah, I just wanted to share that new wire. They're very easy to make. It's just a matter of twisting the wires properly, using heat shrink to where they don't move or come loose, and it just works just fine. You know, you can connect any battery you want this way. You know, connect to anything. You know, this will basically connect to any battery, any setup I have, without having to cut and solder wires, and I can use it for other things. So really need to get a lens cover on here. I don't want to scratch this. Should really put a lens cover on there. I do have one. So that's pretty much it, you guys. I just wanted to show you this quick little, well, it wasn't as quick as I wanted it to be, but just wanted to show you the segment on this car. This thing is a blast. I'm going to continue to do things for it. I'll let you guys know with the update of me filing and kind of adjusting the drivetrain a little bit. I may actually do a video on that, to where once I take it apart and clean it up again, enough to work on it, I may show you guys what I filed and what you have to smooth. But it's predominantly the differential shafts that ride on the bearing and go they go around. You know, the bearings get so tight on there, you know, and stuff like that. You got to watch the gear meshes if there's any excess plastic. You just gotta basically clean it up and put it together and feel it. I mean, you'll feel if it's loose or tight or how well it's working. So it's all in the feel. You want it to be nice and loose. So yeah, I'll get more into detail and figure out, you know, once I show you guys on the video much better. It's kind of hard for me to explain sometimes. But yeah, it's been really fun doing this with you guys. And hopefully, I did find a local track, at least I could run it. I don't know if they have races in this class, but I can take it up to Queen City track over in Batavia. It's called Queen City Raceway or something like that. So I'm really excited to run this. That'll be fun. I'm sure someone will point me in the right direction. They did have a small track for these, actually, over by Micro Center by Sharonville, but it closed. I don't know where they moved at. So hopefully I could find another little track for these. That would be incredible. I'm not so much of a drifter, but this handles really well on asphalt. I may get some I will look into tire setups for you guys. Price, just to let you know, these rims and tires, the way the pattern is, will actually connect. You can buy any Mini Z tires for this. They have the same way of connecting. So, you know, they have not a million, but they have lots of rim designs and lots of different tires, like treads for different surfaces and different grips. So kind of look into that, see what you need. I am going to try a couple different setups to see what works best on what surface. So I'll share that with you guys, and lots of other upgrades. So please stay tuned. This is just I guess part 2 of this segment, and then there'll be more to come. So thank you guys for all your support. I did pick up some new subscribers. Thank you for joining the RC family. you know, it's been a wild ride, but I'm glad where I'm at. You know, I just passed a year not that long ago, so you know, I'm really excited. There's a lot to come this year. I have a lot of plans for stuff, so I'm really excited to do this with you guys. And that's pretty much it. And yeah, you know, it's a little bit of a roller coaster. You lose some subscribers, you gain some, but I'm happy that I have all you guys. You know, everyone that's been sticking with me. Thank you. And that's pretty much it. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up. You know, and check out the other content on the rest of the channel. And that's pretty much it. So thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.